talk a little bit about GFCI outlets. These are the outlets you see with the test and the reset buttons on them in some areas. GFCI stands for Ground Fault Circuit Interrupter. They are required anywhere where there's water: kitchens, bathrooms, exteriors, and garages. The way they work is the outlet itself is constantly monitoring the voltage between the hot and the neutral wire. And if there's an anomaly, it spikes or drops, it shuts that outlet off right at the source. Basically, they're to protect you as the homeowner from shock hazards. You drop a hand mixer into a sink full of water, it's going to trip that outlet. Somehow water gets into the outlet, it's going to trip. Again, all to protect the homeowner. One of the confusing things about GFCI protection is you don't need to have a GFCI outlet installed next to your sink in your kitchen. It just has to be GFCI protected. Where that can come from is when you have a GFCI breaker in your electrical panel. The wire that comes out of that breaker, any outlet on that circuit or in that stream is protected. So if you have a GFCI breaker that covers all your kitchen outlets, you're good to go. The other thing that even makes it a little bit more confusing is when you walk into a bathroom and there is no GFCI outlet. It's just a regular outlet. Well, that doesn't mean it's not protected, because if you install a GFCI outlet, again, first outlet on the circuit, everything downstream is protected. That's how you can have 5 bathrooms that only has one outlet that's actually a GFCI. In the kitchen, the newest standard is everything above a counter in a kitchen should be GFCI protected. In my kitchen, I have 2 GFCI outlets and 7 outlets. They're all protected. The way you figure it out is you take an outlet tester. This is a great thing to have just in your drawer at home. They're 10 or 12 bucks at the Home Depot or Lowe's or any hardware store. I always make sure I carry one with a test button on them. What this does is you plug it in the outlet and there's lights on it. And depending on which lights light up, it tells you if the outlet is wired properly. And the legend is right on the top. But you can also trip GFCI outlets, which I really love. As a home inspector, it's very important. Part of my inspection is I will always trip the GFCI outlets and tell you which outlet is the reset. So if you come across an outlet like this one that is not GFCI protected, if I trip it, this is the outlet that tripped. So this outlet is the first one in this stream. Again, I do that in every inspection. I will tell you where the reset outlet is, because it can be very confusing. Kitchen isn't as bad because you can usually see it, but when they pop, they make that audible sound, which is so helpful because sometimes it's down under a counter or something like that. Bathrooms are a little bit tougher because, again, you will have 6 bathrooms wired with one GFCI outlet. So that's why in my inspection, I trip every GFCI outlet. Then I know, okay, I tripped the bathroom, I heard it, I'm not sure where it is, then I go find that. And I will tell you, it's in the half bath. What I don't want you to do is have your bathroom outlet stop working and you've got a bunch of people over, a bunch of company, and then you have to call an electrician who charges you $200 on a Sunday to push a reset button. So I will always include that and try to tell you where that reset outlet is. So if your outlet isn't working in your bathroom, go to all the other bathrooms first. See if you can find that reset button. Exterior can be a little tricky. Basically, any outlet outside has to be protected because there's so much water. I was at a house one time, the GFCI in the basement kept tripping. Couldn't figure it out. Well, what I realized is the outlet cover on the outside outlet was loose. So anytime rain or snow would drip down that wall, it would go in the outlet, trip the downstairs outlet. Sometimes, if you can't find the exterior reset button, go down to your basement, because this is the house I was talking about. Modern construction, the last 15, 20 years, go down the basement, go through the door, go either to the right or to the left. The inside wall on the back side of the stairs. That's so often where that GFCI outlet is. Another thing to keep in mind, what else gets plugged into that outlet a lot? Routers. So sometimes your internet will just stop. Check that outlet. It can also be wired garage and exterior together. Sometimes that's pretty easy. That's why I trip an outlet outside. I'm always listening to see where it might reset. Again, the rule is anywhere where there's water, you have to have GFCI outlets. In the garage, it's a little bit tricky because you don't want to plug your sprinkler system into an outlet that's GFCI protected. Say you go on a 3-week road trip in the summer. That GFCI trips the day you leave, now your sprinkler system doesn't work anymore. The other thing is a refrigerator. Just the simple act of a compressor kicking on in a fridge can trip a GFCI. Now you could lose everything in that fridge. That's the newest standard. Again, most houses don't have all of these standards, but I just like to kind of open your eyes a little bit to what's required or what's recommended. Not every house is going to have every one of these unless it's relatively new. So I just wanted to kind of get into GFCIs a little bit, kind of introduce you to what they are, and most importantly, talk about where to reset them if they trip.